So what would you say, guys, if you had to only get one modification? They literally gave you one mod to do. What would you choose to do, Scotty?
Luggage. If I could only do one, I'd have to have something. I don't know if that's really a modification. That's just buying something to stick on there. I don't know. If I had to, I would say luggage. But if luggage doesn't count, it's the seat. I could not ride that bike with the seat that came with it. Anybody want my old one?
Yep.
And I'm with Scotty on that one. I would say if I only got to replace one thing on the bike, it would be the seat. So the comfort seat is
the Triumph comfort seat.
Better. Yep.
It has that gel padding all the way to the front. Instead of just like the pillion section, is that treatment's all the way to the front. It's great.
I'd probably go with the luggage as well. The dry bags really make the bike so much more useful. And if not that, yeah, maybe the seat. I would, it doesn't make as much of a difference to me, but maybe the headlamp, that LED
It's
headlamp.
a tough call though, man. The mirrors, man. That's the other thing. I couldn't live with those mirrors that were on it before because I could not see behind me. I mean, honestly, both you guys still got those original mirrors on them, and
lollipops.
I know you don't have those anymore, Doug, but
they're like antennas.
If there's a police officer behind you or an ambulance, man, you don't know about it.
That's right.
Not good.
There's nobody behind Jedz. It's gone.
I'm always in front.
All right, so Jedz. All right, Jedz. What mod? What is it?
I mean, obviously, I'm with all y'all. The luggage is by far like the dry storage, and the KG rack is probably one of the best mods I've done to my T120. And if I had to have one, that would be the only one. But if they said no to that, I would definitely say the factory cruise control.
Yeah, that's a good
That
point
is nice. That is nice, but it's a matter of opinion.
Yep, it's exactly a matter of opinion. Exactly. So
he's got, here's the difference. He's got a young guy's butt.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need no comfort seat.
That's right.
Not yet.
Not yet.
20
right. 40 pounds lighter, and he's 15 years younger, and he wants that cruise control because he's doing, another 15,000 miles per year that we're not doing.
Right.
Yeah,
So it really comes down to what you do with it.
Right. How many of y'all changed your tires on your bike? Should I ask that question, Scotty?
Sure. That's an important question.
It is, yeah.
Okay, so what tires do you like the best for your T120, or the ones that you found that work the best for your bike? Amen.
I'm a big fan of round ones. I've tried those square tires, and I just can't make them work.
Yeah, but you're good at making them down there in Florida. You're good at making square tires.
We square them off, right? I honestly don't care. I don't have an opinion about this. I know it's supposed to be the most important thing ever, but I'm on my third set right now, and I really just don't care. Maybe it's because all I'm doing is riding to work and back all the time.
Right.
I'm not carving up the Green Mountains. I'm not going down the Blue Ridge Parkway. I'm not going out to Jordan Lake. I'm not doing all that stuff. I'm just going to work and back, and then, once in a blue moon, right around Lake Okeechobee, which is, Doug, 90% driving straight and flat. So.
Oh, you go kind of right if you're heading south.
Okay. It just doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't matter. Tires just don't matter to me. So
I haven't had the opportunity to change tires yet, and obviously it's going to happen in the future. But certainly the stock tires are not good, and I'll just leave it at that. And Scotty, I can remember when you first you got off the stock tires and you put your fresh set of tires on, and you were like, "Oh my gosh, this is wonderful."
But yeah, it's because they were so squared off.
Yeah.
They were so squared off, and now suddenly the bike wanted to fall over into the turns better. And it just wanted to lean back over because I just, had gotten so used to how squared off those tires are. It's so flat down here that we just drive straight so much.
Yeah.
I don't think it was because the tires I got were all that much better than the ones that came with it. I really don't. It's just because when I first got the bike, it was handling fine for me. I think it was because they were so squared off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm on. I just changed tires for the first time over the summer. I had a flat, and Same thing, Scotty. I mean, I have Michelin Pilot Actives. I'm not sure it's because of that tire or because the ones that I had were kind of squared off, but the bike was suddenly so much more agile. You know, you used to have to kind of work to get around the turns, and now it just turns in without any effort. So, but I like these tires. You know, I mean, I'm totally happy with them. I'm not sure I would go back to the OEMs.
Right.
I think it's a reflection of what kind of rider you are. You know, I can see Doug and Jedz probably carrying way more, and you carrying somewhat, and me not.
Round.
Right. Round.
Round is good.
I would put the OEM ones back on. They actually lasted longer than the other two sets I've got. The OEM ones lasted me 13,000 miles, 15, something like that.
Holy smokes.
That's good.
A long time. And then the second pair and the other pair, nowhere near that. So
That's funny. So I ran the OEM ones. One thing to note, and especially to anyone that's watching this or listening to this, when I got the tires for my bike, I pulled them off, and I had them on hand, and I checked the date codes, and they were for 2015, and this is a 2018 model here. So to note, I had the stock tires on this bike for about 3,000 miles, and at that point, they were pretty much toast. The front bias for me, I'm a pretty aggressive rider. I sport tour a lot. You guys know, my viewers know. And it wasn't really that good of a tire. So I went to tubeless, and I have to say the best tire for this bike is running, if you're looking for a good compromise for longevity, because, Scotty, I don't get 15,000 miles out of a tire. I mean, the fronts, they get about 18,000, but the rears, they're done about 5,000 to 8,000.
Wow.
And the Michelin Pilot Road 4 GT, or the Road 5 on the back, the 150 is definitely the best size. I've tried a 160 on the rear, and it's a little too big. It's like gives you that little assurance. There's a little bit of chicken strip lift. For the 150, I have no chicken strip left, but the bike seems to turn in better because it's a taller, narrower tire. So I got to say, radial tubeless.
I would love to try those tires because of their reputation in the rain. And they're said to be fantastic in the wet asphalt.
Dude, they're awesome. Actually, they're really good. I run the Road Smart, the Dunlops Road Smart. What is it? The Road Smart 3, I think it's what it is, on the FZ1, and it is anything under 50 degrees and wet. It's sketch fest. I just don't like it. Well, the T120 handles so much better. And don't be wrong, yes, it's got ABS and traction control, and the FZ1 does not. However, you could tell when a tire's about to break and it's not, and I don't ever really hit the ABS on the T120.
We do get a lot of rain in Florida. It's supposed to be the Sunshine State, but we get a ton of rain, and that would be a nice tire to have for the rain.
Yeah, right. So, Jedz, what did you do to seal off the spokes so that you could run tubeless tires?
So there's a link we should put in. I'll put in the description to my tubeless conversion. Basically, it's a special kind of tape they designed for roofs to like seal roofs and skylights.
No kidding.
And yeah, no kidding. So what I do is I kind of heat it up, and then you clean your rim off where the spokes come into the rim, and you just kind of create this bead around where the spokes go into the rim, and you drill out a hole, and you put a valve in for your tire valve. Tubeless conversion, and it's been, like I said, the bike's got I've done this, so this bike's got 42,000 miles on tubeless conversions, and I have no air leaks. I've replaced the valve stems, but you should anyways on any tubeless setup, and no leaks. It's been stellar. And the primary reason why I went tubeless wasn't because of performance. Yes, that's a huge performance increase, but the thought of being stuck on the side of the road on I-95, seeing buddies, and having to pull the rim off the bike, wheel off the bike, pull the tube off the rim, and replace the tube and do all that stuff wasn't my cup of tea. So now I can just plug and pull, pull and plug and inflate, and I'm good to go. So that's the main reason I went tubeless, just because I put big miles on it. I'm far away from home, and I'm not I don't have my shop at my disposal, so I have to make do on the side of the road.
Cool.
All right. Next question. Scotty Amen. Has your T120 been reliable for you?
How does one answer that?
Where do we begin?
What a
Where do we
fun
begin?
bike. What a fun bike. So after I had it for only a month, the ignition security lockout failed. So it was no longer detecting the chip in the key. And so it would not start because it thought I was a robber. And that had to get fixed by Triumph, which took them a month, but that's because it took so long for the parts to get in, and that part was not at dealerships yet. It had to come from England to the dealership here in Florida. So it was a month without the bike because of that problem. But once that got sorted out, I have not had problems since then.
30,000 miles. So
That problem happened. Yeah, that problem happened right at I don't know, 2,000 miles or something.
Yeah.
I wonder if
1,000
you
miles
could.
in or something. So.
I wonder if you could fault that like for sitting too long or something.
Well, here's the thing about my bike. My bike was bought in November of 2016 by somebody else who rode it for just under 2,000 miles and then returned it because he didn't want the chrome. He wanted the black. And he traded in a 2-month-old motorcycle for another one just like it. Who knows what happened in that period that he rode it for 1,900 miles. It did, who knows? I don't think it's because it sat, because it didn't sit. It
Right.
It had a life before I found it, but who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think I just got a piece of electronics that went bad.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything that comes out of Thailand is perfect.
No, and it's a newer, and you have a 2017, so it's a newer model.
Yep.
They had to shake some stuff out.
Right. Yeah. Wrinkles to be ironed out, I think.
Yeah, it was only the second year. Yep. And I'm not the only person who's had that problem. If you look on the forums and scroll back to the 2016, 27 period, you'll find 5 or 6 people on Triumph Rat who had that problem, and all of them had the same unit replaced. I will, say shout out to the local Two Wheels World dealership here that gave me a loaner for a month. That they didn't have to do that, but they knew it was my only transportation, and they let me ride an older air-cooled 900cc Bonneville for a month, which really made me appreciate the new bike. They did me a favor there.
Yeah, the Captain America bike. I can remember that. And you were like, I want my bike back.
Yeah, that was not a fun bike. It was kind of a pig.
Well, it was good. You had a good friend who helped you out that night, right? to come back with a trailer to
yeah, a couple of good friends did the No Man Left Behind, and went about 400 miles out of their way to get a trailer, come back and get me and pick me up again. It's all documented on AmenMoto.com.
AmenMoto.
Ooh, nice plug.
The saga.
Don't worry, I'll let you plug later.
So I can't answer that question because I haven't had the bike long enough. But you know what? If something fails on it, I don't care. I love that bike. I'll fix it and move on. It's a great bike.
Yeah, I think the only thing that happened, the previous owner had let the battery run down on the bike, and so to get it started when I was going to buy it and try it out, he charged it up with the car battery, and the MIL was on, and then it went off, and then I picked up the bike, but I think that battery lost its ability to hold a charge because not long after I got it, the MIL came back on, and it was complaining about the ABS and traction control connectivity or something like that, but I think the battery was the issue. So I went and put in a new battery, and since then, no problems. The only other bug, every now and then when I turn the key on, the fuel injector doesn't kick in to prime the throttle bodies, and I'll have to turn it back off and turn it back on. That's never stopped me, or made it so I couldn't ride. But that's one of those vexing intermittent problems you can't really pin down what's going on.
Right. It's not like the bike's leaving you stranded for that.
Right. It's never done that though.
For me, definitely it's. I have not experienced any electrical issues on my T120, and that seems to be a kind of a common theme among the T120 owners. I haven't had any of those problems yet. Not going to have those problems. So the first year of ownership was pretty problematic for me. Radiator blew about 12,000 miles, 3,000, 4,000 miles. I can't remember.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Drip.
Drip. It was a drip. It wasn't like bad. My dealer's like, you probably shouldn't write it, but we'll warranty if anything goes. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to Indiana then. I'm going to take 1,000 miles out the Midwest and ride hard. And it was just a slow leak, but it was imperfection in the tabs. So, you have your radiator and it mounts to the frame, and there's mounting tabs. Those mounting tabs, one of them had a hairline leak. It was just leaking coolant. So Triumph replaced the radiator in about a month, and no problems there. Then I was hanging out with my friend Steve Case over at his house, and decided
Special case
customs, and I decided to ride the bike in the yard, and I dropped it and I sheared the shift selector. And Steve is an amazing mechanic and metal fabricator, so he got it fixed and it worked great. And then at 20,000 miles, my 6th gear decided to self-destruct. So the bike was out for another month, but Triumph covered it, and since then, no problems. The bike has run great. It had a couple ethanol issues, and I'm going to blame myself on that because you do have to replace the fuel filter in the tank, FYI, boys, every 10 to 20,000. I'd say 20,000 miles, replace that thing.
You got to replace what now?
The fuel filter in the tank.
You do?
Yeah.
You do if you live in Vermont.
It
Yeah.
has one of those?
What does that mean? I'm going to put some maple sap,
Maple sap in the gas, yeah. They don't use ethanol, they use maple sap.
No, yeah. Just straight sap. We don't boil it down for syrup.
Well, part of the issue for you too, Jedz, your Triumph dealer is all the way across the state, or at that time it was, right? So it was a big deal just to get the bike, to a place where it could be fixed.
Mm-hmm. And that was the biggest thing as well, is that I could not get my bike serviced very easily. My dealer was 200 miles away. So, and I really wanted a Triumph because my buddy, was influenced me well. And, but so I went out of my way to get it. But the problem was when I needed service, I had to find a way to get the bike there. I had to drop it off, and they didn't have loaner programs. And it seems like that's an inconsistency with a lot of the dealers. I've learned with you guys and the viewers is that some dealers give loaners, some dealers don't.
It's a loaner. Yep. It's a dealership. It's their prerogative. Yeah.
Yep. It's all there. Exactly. So it was a challenge. This year I get Triumph Vermont, so it's only 30 miles away, which is in Vermont nothing. It's next door because everything's like 30 miles away or 50 miles away in Vermont. And it's been great since. The bike's been running great since. So but that's basically all like I said, first year rough, next year great. So it's been a pretty good bike.
You had a radiator problem twice, right?
So yeah, the cooling issue was really bizarre, Scotty. It did overheat this summer. I was noticing that in August it was getting hot, and the actual coolant light came on, the little red coolant light, and I just pulled the tank and put coolant into the system, and it was fine after that. So, and at 45,000 miles, and on my review, I went to the dealer to get it checked out because I was concerned about that because I noticed the coolant smell, and that overflow from the coolant I added in August was pushing into the coolant reservoir. which was burning on the exhaust, and that's what I
So you were smelling it right on the way back from Motoberfest and
Right,
thought
with my
another radiator
giant
leak.
fairing, Plex two.
Yeah, you kind of hit the roof there, but it was all
I
good.
was. I was.
Oh, we know
Yeah,
we were,
but-
man. We saw the video.
Yeah.
But you were frustrated, but
Yeah,
Um,
but I can't fault the bike.
it
it
was
just-
fine. Just
it's
a little bit
fine.
overfilled.
Yep.
Yeah, when I took my bike in for its, I think it was the 10,000 mile service, they overfilled the coolant and it now spills out onto the exhaust for a while. So, yeah, I got that smell and wondered what's
really?
going on. But, you know, I took a little bit out. That's all. It's all okay now.
Speaking of maintenance, what do you guys think about the ease of maintenance on these bikes?
I mean, all I've really done on it is oil changes and lube the chain. So easy. It's fine. It's an open bike. There's nothing's hidden. You can get right to everything. It's all within reach. It's all right there. So anything you want to get to, you know, Doug and I pulled that tire off in about 30 minutes when we took the back tire and got it done, and we got the chain replaced, you know, at 24,000, something like that.
Mhm.
Didn't seem to be a problem. So
That's
I
good
don't-
life.
I don't think it's that tough to do anything to.
Doug?
Yeah, so you know, having the BMW and I did own a Triumph Explorer before this, and I can say that things are a lot easier to get to and a lot easier to service on the Bonneville. That's for sure. You know, to change the air cleaner on the Explorer, you got to take the gas tank off.
Ugh.
I mean, what you would think would be a simple job. And
How many screws is it to take off the fairing
was
to
like
get to the tank?
it was like 15 fasteners or something I had
Oh
just
my
to
God.
get the tank off the bike. Yeah. So one of the things I've been watching a few videos and stuff, but you know, checking the valves, doing the valve checking, and that all looks super easy. I mean, the tank comes right off. There's one bolt in the back, and it just comes right off. You just connect the high pressure hoses, and now everything is right there under the frame, and the valve cover comes off real easy. And so yeah, I'm not, like I mentioned earlier, I said if it breaks, I'll fix it. I'm not nervous about having to service this bike. Everything is like Scotty said, it's a very open, you know, and this bike's been around for a long time. So, you know, I'm not worried about that. It's pretty easy to work on.
Mhm.
Yeah, for the little bit I do, I mean, I'm more like Scotty Amen. I do the fluids, filters, plugs, brake pads. They're all really, really easy. You know, it's a little bit of a pain. I mean, if you want to tighten the chain, you have to take, or I have to take the exhaust off, and that just seems like it's not a problem, but it's a little bit more.
It's annoying.
It's a little annoying. That's about all. It adds like another 20 minutes or something to the job. But otherwise, I'm with you guys. It's easy to get at what you need to do.
Yeah, I forgot about doing the front and back brake pads, Scott. You're right. I did those, and they're just right there.
Simple. I mean,
They're not hidden behind anything. They're just, here they are.
14 mil in the back, 12 in the front. Boom.
Yep.
On and off. Yep.
So Jedz, you've worked on a lot of bikes, so you've got probably better information for us about working on the bikes.
I would say the Bonneville is a solid 3.
Out of
10.
Out of 10.
0 being easiest, 10 being hardest.
Oh,
The only issues I've run across is that the bolts that hold the motor on, or like where there's the cradle that comes down in the front where the exhausts are. You've probably had to use them, Doug, when you put your chrome crash bars on.
Crash bars. Yeah, getting to those bolts is not that easy.
And you got to use that special star tool, which is kind of a pain.
Yeah.
But I totally agree. The worst part about it is that exhaust is so much in the way. And when you do the miles I do, so I'm putting 25,000 miles on, I'm putting on 4 to 5 rear tires a year. So it's an extra 20 minutes, which is an extra hour and a half that I'm losing, that I have to go in and get the exhaust off, and a season to get the rear tire off, which adds up at shop time. So
Jedz, you have a fix for that, for the exhaust system changing the rear. You got something in the works that you're going to do. to make it easier to change a rear tire.
I'm getting rid of this. I'm getting rid of the exhaust. I'm going to go 2-to-1 this winter at some point.
What did you say?
What?
Can't get rid of the pea shooters? What are you doing getting rid of the pea shooters?
It's your bike.
Did
Go
you
ahead.
just
Do whatever
seriously
you want.
flash a knife? Did you
Do
just
whatever you
seriously
want.
flash a knife?
It's your bike. You do whatever you want to do, buddy.
I feel so threatened across the internet.
I'm triggered.
I'm not like most millennials.
I'm triggered.
Right, but you found a 2-to-1, a stainless 2-to-1 system.
Yeah.
And it sweeps up in the back so you can get to the rear axle and
Oh,
stuff.
nice.
No issue.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's
going to
nice.
be.
Yep.
I think that's going to be a really nice exhaust system.
And when I put it on, I'm definitely going to promote that in my YouTube channel and to my viewers that the biggest drawback for me is working around the dang stock 2-to-1-to-2 exhaust. It's just got 6 exhaust joints. They always leak. I mean, I try not to hit animals, but sometimes it happens, and as soon as I hit an animal and it hits that X pipe, everything goes to hell and it leaks like a sieve. So
Do you have the pipes yet?
not yet, no. It's going to be let's see where I sit after Christmas
Right. Got
kind
it.
of thing. So, but all in all, I got to say the maintenance easy. I've done the valves I've done the valve checks myself. The first valves, 7 out of the 8 were out of adjustment, and Triumph did that when they took the motor out at 20,000 miles. And they had the case split, so might as well put it together and get the valves adjusted correctly. And when I did the check at 40,000, and the valves were spot on. So,
Wow.
and that's easy. You just,
Great.
as Doug said, it's one bolt comes off, you unhook a connector, and you unhook the fuel, and the tank's off, and you can take the valve cover off relatively easily. Spark plugs are easy to replace. They don't need replacement. The bike just runs really good, so it's easy to work on. The only grievance I have is I had to buy an oil filter tool. That oil filter is a pain in the ass.
It's hard to remove once you get a little bit of
I'm like,
oil on there.
Just you can't get your hand on it.
I'm like in there like.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice that it's down at the bottom, right? It's at the bottom of the sump, so it's upside down. It's nice. It's not going to spill out and all that stuff, but you can't get your hand around it because it fits into a sleeve that's so tiny.
It's flushing the oil pan.
Yeah, exactly. There's no room to get your fingers between the oil pan and the filter, so you got to get a little prong tool.
Yeah. That's the only grievance I really have with maintenance.
Pretty modest.
Yeah.
Yeah.